Shalom, it's your brother Yawanathon, all right? First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters pursuing this truth and sincerity, all right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. I'm going to run this clip. We're going to respond to it through the Spirit. Abaratazah. The lesson is edifying.
I have said it once and I will say it again and I will say it every single time. You put a black person in absolutely any field and absolutely anything, they will dominate. Every time. Black people are just superior. It is also my theory as to why we are not as advanced in society as we should be by now. Because we've done nothing but suppress and diminish the work and the credit that black people have in society. And there's a lot of amazing things that we have because of their creations, because of their ideas, their intelligence, their creativity. And you can't say the same for white people. So I just can't wait to see more black leaders.
And black leaders, or so-called black, right? We're actually Israelites. But there's going to be a rulership of the family of heaven. Now, that's not just so-called black people. That's the so-called black, Latino, and Native American people. And of course, the speckled bird Israelites scattered into every nation under heaven. Now, I'm going to just go into this little caveat because she said black. For those who are new, understand this, okay? This has nothing to do with skin complexion. The way the Lord does lineage is completely different than how the world does it. The world says you're half of what your mother is, you're half of what your father is. The scriptures say you are what your father is. Okay? Now you take on physical features in your body from both parents, yes. But are you your body or are you the spirit in your body? And the spirit in your body is attached to the seed. The spirit the Lord decides to put in the body is attached to the seed. Okay, that's why in the scriptures you always had men begatting other men. Okay, let me go there real quick. Let's go here. It's talking about the pedigree, right? Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. It's after, we're delivered out of Egypt. And they declared their pedigrees, all right, their lines, their family line, after their families by the house of their fathers. Boom. According to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Okay? So it's a seed line thing. When you go to Isaiah 59, and I'll just read it here. Let's go to Isaiah 59, and we'll start at verse 20. Okay? Now, I was going to say something here, and it's going to talk about the seed line. But when you look up this word seed in Isaiah 59, it's going to reveal something very plain to you. Okay? Let's go to Isaiah 59, and we'll start at verse 20. And the Redeemer, Yahushai, shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob. The Lord's dealing with the family of Israel. Amos 3 and 2. You only of all the families of the earth have I known. All right. Let me see here. Let me go to Amos 3 and 2 real quick. Yeah, you only of all the families of the earth. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Now, let's go back to Isaiah 59 and 20. He says, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. As for me, this is my covenant with them, saith the Lord. My spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth, shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed. So this is showing you that the priesthood is going to remain in the family. Nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seeds, seed, saith the Lord, from henceforth and forever. Now, when you look up that word seed, you're going to get the word Zerai. It's H2233, and it says seed sowing offspring. And then you jump down to the third definition. It flat out tells you that it's talking about the semen of a man. You are what your father is. Now back to the point of the video, the clip. She was saying whatever field Jacob gets in, they dominate it. Now the scriptures say that Jacob is the former of all things. Let's read this, Jeremiah 10:16. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Now the scriptures also say that Jacob is the salt of the earth. Salt gives food its what? Flavor. Okay? Let's get that real quick. We'll read it. It's Matthew 5:13. Ye are the salt of the earth is written in red. But if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It and what really makes us special is that we were the people that had the relationship with the Lord, and we had the conduct or the ways of righteousness that lead to life. Now, the society we live in today, much of technology, inventions, and practices that could forward a nation, that could have a nation grow, have been suppressed and held back. Reason being is because in a righteous environment, in an environment where you can truly enjoy the earth, our people always seem to, even if they're at the bottom of a society, look at the Roman Empire, even if they're at the bottom of a society, they find a way to rise to the top. This is why it's been so important this go around, especially after the Renaissance period, that the white man has put all these parameters around Jake to where they could perpetually keep them in a downtrodden state. Because they know if you give Jake too much wiggle room, too much freedom, you let them somehow get into infrastructure, then these people will overrun all of the fields. So this behavior, redlining, blocking us out of fields, gatekeeping is very, very, very necessary for the so-called white man to do that to remain in power. If he doesn't do that, he lose. Okay, and again, he's trying to establish his version of the blessing that Jacob got in Genesis. Two people were given the blessing to dominate the earth in the scriptures, Jacob and Esau. The difference between the two is that Jacob's will be eternal once it started. And that's the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so Esau has to move the way that he's moving. He's still going to lose, right? But in order for him to maintain his position, everything he's done was completely necessary. If you were to put yourself in his shoes as the villain, does he win? No, he does not. But all these things that he's put in within society, these parameters, these laws, these codes, these firewalls to insulate himself from Jake's superiority is extremely necessary for him to maintain his position. The false statistics, all of that, you know. So she mentioned that society has been dumbed down. There's been numerous forms of free energy that have been invented. You got a guy named Moses West who engineered a machine that pulls the water from the air so people could have water because there's water all around us. Okay, but he was bought out by the military, and he's not able to produce that in mass. You'd think all of the ball players, celebrities, and rappers that are Jakes would come together and get behind that guy and completely dominate the water industry. Very possible, but at the same time impossible because 2/3 of our people, they're able to be manipulated by riches, perceived status, any seemingly alleviation from the curses because our people, that's why everybody's chasing the bag because they're trying to find alleviation from the curses. But if they understood the scriptures and the predicament that the Lord put us in, they would know that there is no relief from the curses but to seek Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But everybody's seeking that relief, and Esau's right there to hand it to him, but it comes with a grave price. They have to make him their God through vow acts, through cutting their people out, shitting on their people. Um, there's many routes. Sacrificing a loved one. There's many routes that they take, man. It comes with a price. And they don't know that the world's going to be given to us anyway. Okay? But our people, man, they're too carnal to actually fight the spiritual fight the Lord has called us to fight. And I got another clip to illustrate that, because you know the whole Asian hate thing that's come up recently because of I forgot his name. I don't know the guy's last name. He shot that Jake kid in the back, and all of the Moabites been coming together talking about how but they got black fatigue, and how the Mr. Chong shooting that boy in the back, he didn't do anything wrong, right? Now you got a lot of Jake on the internet saying, "Hey, we need to boycott all the Moabite businesses. We don't need to, we don't need to associate with these people if they look at us this way, right?" Jake doesn't have enough discipline. Jake doesn't care about anything spiritual, nor do they care about the progression of their own people enough to put the desires of their flesh on hold. Now there was this Asian hair store that recently opened up. I don't know what city this was, but I want you to look in the video and you tell me if any of the Jake in this video were concerned with anything bigger than themselves.
If you're black and you live in America and you somehow thought or you believed that black people were going to successfully boycott Asian stores, then two things are a reality in the world. First of all, you do not know the black community as much as you think you do. That's one. You live in a delusional world. That's one. Two, you do not know half of the black community as much as you think you do. And again, if any one of you really I don't care how if at any point you thought the black community was going to boycott Asian stores, that black women were going to give up their hair and nails, and come on. Yeah, I remember a few years ago where this Asian store, I think it was in Detroit, I can't remember, it was in some city, where they violated a black woman. They violated a black woman. And a bunch of black men got together and they said, we're gonna boycott that Asian store. And a bunch of black men got together. They went to the Asian store, they had a bunch of play cards, whatever. And then the Asian store now came in with 60% discount. Black women showed up right to that store and they were chasing the black men. They were like, yo, why you doing this? You killing up, you fucking it up for us right now, black man. They giving us 60% off. Like, why you doing this, black man? Like, y'all remember that? That moment was what made me realize between that and then the British guy that was caught on video beating the black British women, only for him to give a discount right when he was about to be boycotted. Yeah, those two incidents made me realize black women will never be a successful boycott of Asian stores as long, because see, all it takes for it to succeed is for the black woman to look at the mirror and say, this is what I'm supposed to look like. This is my natural existence. I'm going to embrace it. Yeah, good luck with that.
So I want to go to Isaiah 28, and I'm just going to start at verse 14. It says, "Wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men, that rule this people which is in Jerusalem." All right. And the leadership in the nation of Israel right now, you got a bunch of wicked men, but you got a bunch of women who head households as well. And that vibration is passed down to these niggas. Okay. So they're operating in the spirit that we're about to read about. Verse 15, it says, "Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement, when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves." Now they've made a covenant with death because they don't fear the Lord. They don't think the Lord, is going to judge them for being, friends of the world. They only believe in what they can see. Okay. And because they haven't been given the eye salve, the spiritual eye salve, to see things, you know, past the carnal eye, they have this boldness to do evil. They have this boldness to cling onto the ways of other nations. They have this boldness to commit idolatry. Now, when you go to the commentary here in the blue letter for um, Isaiah 28, and you get down to verse 15 where it says we have made a covenant with death, right? This is David Guzik's commentary. And he gets a lot of stuff right, but when it comes to prophecy, he's an Edomite. Obviously, he's not going to get it. All right. But when it comes down to the historical things, majority of the time, they'll be on point. All right. It says the rulers. So it says we have made a covenant with death, and he's trying to break it down here. He says the rulers of Jerusalem were extreme in their rejection of God, and they felt they had an agreement with death or the grave, Sheol, right? They proudly believed the overflowing scourge of God's judgment and correction would not come against them. They had no fear of death, and they thought they had made friends with death and the grave. This same way of thinking is common in our modern world. The ungodly should fear death because death ends all opportunity for repentance. But we know death isn't final, right? We know how life and death works here. Okay. People, they die, the Lord brings them back every 3 to 4 generations, and they live out their judgment here on the earth. All right. You can go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let's go there really quick. All right. Because it tells you where the place of judgment is there. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12:13. Okay, it reads, nope, it's 3 and 16. Salaki. Ecclesiastes 3 and 16. Sometimes I get those mixed up. All right. Ecclesiastes 3 and 16. And I'll start at 15. It says, that which hath been is now. And what's the thing that hath been? Well, let's go to Ecclesiastes 6 and 10 really quick. I know I'm jumping around, but you read something and there's other scriptures pop in your head. Ecclesiastes 6 and 10. That which hath been is named already, and it is known that it is man. Okay, then you go to Ecclesiastes 1. All right, now that you know what the thing that hath been is, Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that hath been is that which shall be. All right, so man is that which shall be. The same spirits are coming back upon the earth. And that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. If there's no new thing under the sun, you're not new either. So now let's go back to Ecclesiastes 3 and 16. It says in more 15. It says that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath been or has already been. And God requireth that which is past. Your things, the sins you committed prior, the Lord requires them when you come back. You live out your judgment on the earth. And this is why in John, the 9th chapter, the disciples asked Yahweh Shai, why was this man born blind? Is it something that he did or that his parents did? Think about that question they asked in John 9. Because if he was born blind, could he do something as a fetus? No, he was talking about a past life. All right, but this is Ecclesiastes 3 and 16 once more. It says, and moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. What's under the sun? The earth. Okay, so this is the place where judgment plays out. This is the plane where it all plays out. Okay, so where was I at before that? I was reading the commentary in Isaiah 28, and David Guzik says what? He says, they had no fear of death, and they thought they had made friends with death and the grave. This same way of thinking is common in our modern world. The ungodly should fear death because death ends the opportunity for which, and their eternal doom is sealed. Satan has a significant interest in making the wicked feel that death is their friend or that the world is their friend. Okay? These people, they look at the other nations, they look at the dainties they have in this society, and they think, what place is better than here? And because they have a great affinity for this society and this place, their judgment is going to be death. Death by the scourges of amendment from the Lord, whether it be through famine, whether it be through the sword, whether it be through, that cancerous sword they're going to receive after they take that mark, or whether it be the cherry on top, which is the missiles touching the daughter of Babylon, the great whore, and being melted, left there and melted. Okay, but progression has been held back in the earth because the devil structured society so that the creativity and the greatness of Jake is held back. And it's also held back because the degenerates of our people that the Edomites put at the top make them seem that he takes the lowest, the basis of our people, and sets them in these positions where they get idolized because they have no integrity and they don't give a damn about their own people and they don't have a spiritual bone in their body. Our people remain in a downtrodden state, which was ordained to be at the end of the day. Remember, when the Lord put the curses on us, those curses were placed on us till we were delivered out of this last captivity. When you go to Revelation 22 and 3, upon the establishment of the kingdom of heaven, it talks about, and then there shall be no more curse. So everything's going according to the Lord's plan, but we, understanding the scriptures, are able to see clearly and from a sober mindset of what's going on and why it's going on. Okay? Which gives you comfort and allows you to navigate the valley of the shadow of death in an upright way. So Abaratazar, the lesson was edifying, man. I'm going to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters pursuing this truth and sincerity. All right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.